You are listening to the Techie Leadership Show with Bogdan and Andrei.
Hello and welcome to the Techie Leadership Show. Today with me I have Walter Allen Scott. He is the author of The Meeting Place, his first self-published project. Walter is an entrepreneur. He is the owner and leading partner of Walter Scott Global, where he works as an essential services consultant and executive recruiter, mentoring people to make their lives work through personal business ownership using their hidden talents. His goal is to assist those who choose to look past their circumstances and follow their dreams to success. Hey Walter, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really, really well. I am really excited about the interview we're going to have and really looking forward to it. Do you want to add anything else about yourself?
What can I say about myself? I'm originally from, I live in the United States. I'm originally from a northern suburb called Evanston, which is is near the Chicago area. I currently live right now in Richmond, Virginia. And there's a big story between how I got from basically Chicago to Richmond. We don't have time for that.
Okay.
Some other stuff about
Another
myself.
time.
Another time, yes. Some stuff about myself. I served 8 years in the United States Navy. I was actually a part of Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Afterwards, I was able to get out and go to college at Robert Morris College, received a degree at Robert Morris College in Chicago. I worked several jobs. It's one of those things where I feel like I've done a lot of different things, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And I ended up finding myself being a professional barber because it was something I did as a child. And
interesting.
I was always cutting I was cutting my hair or cutting my brother's hair. And even while I was in the military, people would catch me cut my own hair, and I became kind of a pseudo barber. But I've actually, after being in corporate America, and I left my job and started going to school for barbering. And I was a professional barber. I did that for 16 years. I was also an instructor.
Okay.
I had gotten to a point where I want to do something different myself. I want to do something different. I had a lot of my clients, excuse me, would come in and talk to me about doing different things. And so I had some things happen in my life where I decided I need to do something different. I went to broadcasting school for a year. I was actually on a radio show. I did my own internet radio show called the Positively Speaking Radio Show.
Amazing.
On WBEG Radio, which was out of New York. And I also was heard weekly on Windy City Underground, which was the school that I'd gone to. Thereafter, I started running my own business online. But after that, I wrote a book, and then I started my own business online. I just got to a point where I wanted to start working for myself. I wanted to start doing my own thing. I just wanted to control my own destiny, my own hours and things that I want to do for myself.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm, based on just what you said, I'm really looking forward to the stories you have. So taking it from the top, what would be the biggest leadership success story you've witnessed personally?
For me personally, I believe my decision to leave home and actually go into the military.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go to college. I didn't have the grades that I really need to go to get into college or get a scholarship, because I had friends that gone to school that went to colleges like Stanford, and they got a full ride because of their education prowess. But I just wasn't that guy.
Yes.
Even though I was like this nerdy kid in school and I got good grades, I was a guy who always seemed to do my homework at school and never had to bring home any books. But I really create a lot of stuff that I do today based on my decision to leave home and going into the military. And the reason for that is because the military gave me structure. It kind of gave me direction. It actually gave me a community, which was a camaraderie, a brotherhood, a sisterhood. I mean, because you're there with people who you're working with, and you're giving your life to them, and they're giving their life to you, and they're expecting you to do whatever you need to do to take care of them.
You have to have their back.
Yeah, you have to have your back. But the biggest thing what it did also was it made me eliminate excuses. And what I mean by that is because the military, you have deadlines. You have things that are required of you to get done, and it's expected to get done within a certain time frame. And also you're multitasking, you're doing things that that you would think that would be out of your realm of possibility, but for somehow because of the community that you're in, you're able to do all this stuff because you're working together with people as a team. And these people become like your brothers, and like I said, like your brothers and sisters. But the military gives you like this big world picture. And I think by being in the military, it gave me a chance to leave home and leave that kind of like that keyhole size view of life
The
that I
safe
had.
environment.
Yeah, from being from home, because it was just, home is great, but I think there's a lot of things that hold you back being there, and it takes a while for you to actually get what you really want when you kind of stay there. I think in the military, since I went in at such a young age and I was given so much responsibility that most people wouldn't receive until they're like 40 in a corporate job.
Yeah, probably. And
You know,
what rank did you have in the military?
I was an E5 when I got out because I spent 8 years in. I made E6 before I left, but I decided after 8 years it was time. 8 years was enough. It was time to go. I had some other issues that
8
were
years.
8 years.
A lot of time serving, yes.
It was something else. I mean, I came in the first 8, and I mean the first 4 because I did it in 4-year increments, and my first duty station was actually in Washington D.C. and it was a shore duty. Then afterwards, I was on the ship out of Norfolk, Virginia, on the USS Yorktown, which is now decommissioned. It was like the 6th ship to carry that name of Yorktown.
Okay.
It was really nice.
And what did you learn about leadership from the military?
Well, what I learned about leadership from the military was pretty much that I had to be able to do what I asked other people to do. I just couldn't tell people, hey, do this because I said so. It's like people had to see me do certain things. They had to see me do it first. I had to be the leader. I had to be the example. I had to be the person that they could come to, but at the same time, I had to know where to go and get information as well. And also I had to realize I didn't have to know everything. I had people that excelled in certain areas, and then I would actually rely on people who were stronger than me in other areas than I wasn't. So they were somewhat the expert, even though I was the one in charge. They were the one who had the knowledge. So I would basically go to them. It's kind of like how...
And follow their lead?
And kind of follow their lead or follow their... I would follow their advice. I would take on what they told me, and I could make a decision based on what they were able to tell me. And then I could actually find someone else who may be stronger in an area that they're not to get the job done.
And that sounds like exactly what should happen also in business and in everyday life.
Yeah, definitely.
You cooperate, you work with people. They have to see that you're doing the work yourself and you are capable of doing it and taking care of your part of what you have to do. And then also trusting them to take part and also have them like, okay, in this you're more skilled. And especially when you have the high stakes of lives are at stake there, you need to trust the best advice you have available. If you are like one of those leaders that's, no, it's my idea and maybe I don't know nothing, but will do it my way, well, that causes big problems, especially
Well, it does.
in the military.
I think the biggest thing is in the military, you learn to have a long-range planning. Everybody understands the big picture, and at the same time, you know where you fit. You know what your portion is, and you know what you're doing to make everything come together. And I think that's what's missing in corporate America. A lot of times, I don't think that people know what they do counts. And when you let people know that what they're doing makes a difference, it overall it just helps everyone out in the end.
Oh, that's amazing. And when it comes to the biggest leadership fail you had the unfortunate experience of witnessing, what would that be?
Well, for me, it was more personal. My biggest thing is not just believing in myself.
Okay.
I didn't really, people would actually come to me and tell me certain things about myself that I didn't really believe. And it took me a time, and
Positive things, I hope.
it was all positive. It was all
positive and doubting it.
It was all positive things. I was doubting it because I had a horrible self-image. I was like I said before, I was like this nerdy kid in school. And I think that a lot of people still view themselves from their high school experience. And it's really hard to get out of that mindset, so to speak. I was also a people pleaser, and it was always hard for me to say no to other people because I was a people pleaser. And I had to get to a point where enough was enough. I had to start seeing value in myself, and I had to just start taking risks. When it came down to, because I used to live I started off in the Chicago area, and I ended up in Richmond, but there's a lot of places I lived in between. And by moving to different places, what it allowed me to do is to kind of reinvent myself. And by doing that, I could come to a new place where no one knew me at all, and I could practice being that new person without someone telling me who I wasn't. And it took me a good while to get to a point where I could just be stronger for myself.
It is a journey, and it's hard, but I believe it's worthwhile. And I have like the same issues, like doubting myself and being surprised that people see skills and behaviors and stuff about me that I myself cannot see.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And it's challenging when people sit there and tell you, even like when it came down to me writing a book, I was in a barbershop cutting hair, and I had a guy who came in, and I think more people came to me for my content of speech more so than my haircuts. And I had because I read a lot of books.
Full service.
And so I had because I think barbers and bartenders are people's therapists, and especially for guys. It's like
exactly.
You're a sounding board. But I had this young man that came into me, and he told me that I should write a book. And I didn't ever see myself as someone who could do that, because I thought, famous people do that. But he just came in with a little recorder, and he said he was going to record me for talking for 2 weeks. He was going to write the book that I was afraid to write and make the money I was afraid to get. And and so I'm just sitting there like, and it amazed me because I'm sitting there like, here this guy is, he has all this faith in me, and I'm looking at myself like, I'm scared.
Oh no, yeah.
And it's tough, but because of that, I was able to get out and actually publish a book, and this is what it looks like.
Awesome. The meeting place.
The meeting place.
We'll get to your book. We'll find out more about it.
It took some time. But I actually, I got it done. I actually got it done, and I was amazed once that happened. It was a great feeling of accomplishment once that was done, and I wasn't really concerned about it selling. I just wanted to have something that had my name on it that people could come and purchase. But also, my driving force for doing it was I wanted to have something that would outlast me, something that would be here well after I was gone, and people could say I left a mark on the world, a visible mark on the world.
And the saying that I like a lot is that I heard, and it really stuck with me, is like, anything that's worth doing, it's worth doing badly, because you get better. But if you don't start, you'll never get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's worth it, just start doing it, and eventually you're going to get better at it. Some are faster, some are slower, but the journey is actually the most enjoyable part. Is not not the end goal.
Oh, definitely, I agree.
And Walter, what would be your leadership philosophy?
Well, you kind of touched on it earlier. I think that for me, it's like, and even on the bottom of my emails, I put down, tomorrow becomes never. No matter how small the task, take your first step now. I think most people live in procrastination, and they're procrastinating out of fear because they don't know what to expect. And it's kind of hard to get out of, and also you don't know what other people are going to think about you. Most people are more concerned about, and more people are concerned about themselves than they are of you. But what I've learned over the years is that, like you were talking about taking your first step, the only thing you can control is your start. You can only control what you do from the beginning, because when it starts, and it kind of starts, like you said, the journey, it starts to evolve, and it'll take you into places and things that you never even expected. So the only thing that you really have to worry about or concern yourself is just to start.
Take
action. And basically, But basically, you got to have a vision. You have to begin with the end in mind, and then you have to be able to work, just be able to work to make that view come into place. And sometimes that can be difficult, but a lot of times it's learning. For me, I had to learn unlearn some things and learn some new things that were going to help me get to where I needed to go. Sometimes that meant reading books. Sometimes that made me doing something that I was kind of uncomfortable with. Sometimes I had to get away from certain people I was hanging around that was keeping me at a certain level that I need to move past.
Yes. So that's important. It's not easy, but it's doable. It won't kill you. It will just help you explore life more.
Definitely, it will definitely help. You just have to know that this is something that you want. You have to go for it no matter what. No matter what.
And for aspiring leaders, what would be your top 3 leadership tips you have for them?
I would say the number one would be your comfort zone is your enemy. You have to escape being average. You have to fall in love with the actual process and stop trying to be somebody else that you're not. Because everybody else is taken. You have to learn how to be you. I think the hardest thing for most people to do is learn how to be themselves. Their authentic selves. Another one would be good things come. People always think that good things come to those who wait, but what I find is that they come to those who do the work, and people who
take action,
and people who take action, people who are ready to work their butts off. Because the secret is still work. It's never the right time. It's never going to be the right time. And so what it comes down to is now is the time. If there's any time, is now, especially right now, or any time. It's just to get off, make it happen, and just take the smallest step. Once you actually know what it is that you want, you just break it down in smaller steps. And the third would be most people, when they're in the moment, when they feel like they're ready to quit, that's usually when the miracles is about to happen. So just don't give up. You just got to keep going, because it's going to get tough. It's going to get hard. It's going to be, like I said, you're out of your comfort zone. You're feeling kind of, I don't know. Everything seems to be falling apart. And there's no really such thing as balance. I think too many people are trying to have this balance in their life. And there's no really such thing as that. And a lot of times when you have your friends or family or people who are close to you will just tell you that you're crazy. What are you doing? We don't understand. And then if you actually, it's your vision. It's not their vision. So you have to know that you have to keep doing what you've been called to do and not concern yourself with someone else. It's kind of like Noah was building an ark, and everybody thought he was crazy till it started to rain. And so the thing that is, your rain is coming. So don't worry about that. You just got to keep moving on to your own beat, and your day will come.
Yeah. And quitting too soon was one of my flaws that I had, and I recognized it myself. And I built like several businesses that when I told people like the returns and everything, the potential in it, for me, it was like too slow. It wasn't big enough. And for those other people that had experience in those domains, they're like, are you crazy? I would give a leg and an arm to have that going on.
Yes.
And I was, being young and naive, not always helpful.
Yes.
And Walter, since we talked a little, you wrote a book, and what would be like the book that had the most profound impact on you?
Oh, wow. There are so many books that I read, and a lot that have actually affected my life. But I think the main one, I know it might be overused, but I really like the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that was actually published in 1957 during the Depression. And, a lot of people thought that was a book to make income because of the title. But really, it's really about people being able to succeed doing whatever they want to do. What I love about the book is that here Napoleon Hill went down. He went and talked to men of different industries and found out what it was, that little extra oomph that made them special or made them money. And then if you really read through it and you start seeing what they've gone through, because a lot of things haven't changed. Like I say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And a lot of stuff that was going on, back then, people haven't changed much. Technology has changed how we've lived, but the basis of how we exist are still the same. And so that book has really been something that's really helped me, amongst other things. But I think out of all books, that would be like the cornerstone book that people should just start with. There are many others, but I think that that's one that has been the best help for me.
And a story that I heard about Napoleon Hill related to the book, and because he goes in depth about visualization and looking at things and projecting and to making them true, is actually when he made it, he went to his old village and there was like a bridge, and he used to visualize himself in a Rolls Royce at the end of the bridge, and he actually had to put it in a ditch a little to make the visuals come true in real life.
Well, it's true.
Fulfill them.
It's true. I think the largest nation is imagination, and you have to get to a point where you can see where you're going. It's the same thing with being a barber. Like I said, for 16 years I was a barber, but even being a barber, you have to be able to see the cut before you start cutting. This is the same thing in life, or anything that you want. You have to be able to visualize what that is and what it looks like for you, and then kind of cut away from that. That's what a decision is. You're cutting away things around you for you to actually go right for what it is that you're going for. So I think that you need to know exactly what it is that you're going for. You need to have that vision, that clear vision of what it is that you're seeking. So that way everything else doesn't become a distraction.
And that's why I love my barber. He has a vision for me, and it's tailor-made for myself. This situation. It's I love it a lot. So it's it's also something.
But outside of that, I think one of the books that helps me now in times today, with everything that's happening, because people are so distracted and everything that's going on, is a book called the One Book. I'll show you a copy of it. The One Book.
The One Book. The
one thing. The one thing. Because I think what most people are doing is that they're trying to do the multitaskings. They're trying to get involved with so many things, and nothing ever happens when you're doing too many things at once. And I think once you realize what your one thing is, when you realize, because everybody is born with a certain talent or a skill, that if you cultivate that, it can take you wherever you want to be. But most people don't. They're not trying to find that. They're really just clones of other people. They're just doing what other people tell them or think that they should do. They're just staying on the road of average, and they're just doing what everyone says. Well, just do that.
Yeah. And Walter, when it comes to your book, can you tell a little about it and what you try to achieve with it?
Well, with me, I wrote a book called The Meeting Place. It can be found on Amazon.com. It was self-published because I wanted to be able to. Because when I tried to put it through with other publishers, they wanted to change some things. I didn't want anything really changed. I had some challenges when I first started. I had a guy that was really helping me out, and he was somewhat of a stranger to me, but he actually was helping in the beginning. But in the end, it came out to he just took advantage of me, really, when it came down. And then I had another gentleman that I worked with afterwards who pretty much did the same thing, and I had to go through a lot of
my God,
where they had taken the book from me, they had published it under them and not me, and I had to end up going through. I didn't really have to go through court. I just had to go through where I had to go through a process of getting my book back because I proved that it was mine because I had already had it. I can't think of the word for it right now, but I had it written. I had it in my name. Everything was in my name, so they could say that it was theirs. But overall, it was a good process. I'm glad that I was able to do that.
You learned a lot. Not pleasant, but lots of lessons.
But really, the meeting places are really about being who you are wherever you are. It allows you to get down to your authentic self. And it was my first book that I've ever written. And right now I'm working on a second book.
Second book?
Nice. I'm working on a second book. And it's been years because I wanted to work on a second book, and I met somebody who is as my publisher right now. His name is Mr. Kelly Cole, and he has his own publishing company with it's called the Publishing Advantage Group. And he's actually helping a lot of people get their self-published, even people who've never written books before. He's allowing them. He's been doing a different things online right now. He does a lot of things online. He also does workshops and teaches people how they can use their book as their basically as their business card. Because most people don't pay attention to a business card, but they will pay attention to
Yes.
it.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
And I love that. I love that.
And Walter, if people want to find out more about you, where should they go?
Oh, wow. Well, I used to have a website. I don't keep the website up anymore because social media is at a point where people can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, just using my actual name, Walter Allen Scott. And I'm also can be found on my business. I do have a business website as well.
Okay.
That I can
Which
be found.
Is?
It's walterallenscott.acnibo.com.
Okay. I'll put links to your social media profiles and to your business website in the show notes so people can find you.
All right, cool. Because I made a little sign that made it easier. I did this. I don't know if that helped.
It will help. It will help for creating the show notes.
Right,
so, Walter, it has been a pleasure having you on the show and talking with you. Thank you very much for coming.
This has been awesome. It's been a great experience, and it's been great talking with you and talking and having everyone who's listening. And hopefully I've said something that will spark and help someone grow personally.
For sure, for sure. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
That was today's episode. Tune in daily. Rate, like, subscribe, and share, please. Oh, you can find further info and materials in the show notes on techyleadership.com, including links to the guest book recommendations.